Hey, good morning, YouTube. How's everybody doing? Hope everybody's doing well. This is Thomas with Mr.Fix-All Home and Garden in Raleigh, North Carolina. This is a video that I had to jump in on. I just had to do this one because, and the way I'm gonna title this one, "How does business find you?" Not how do you find business, but how does business find you? And the reason for this particular type of title, or this particular name of this video I'm going to do, is because 2 weeks ago I put up a video on what the pros think, or how the pros think. And the reason I put that video up is because you know, I was talking about labor, the problems with labors that contractors have. Well, an interesting twist, as it always will be, to how things really work. You know, you can call it karma, you can call it Murphy's Law, you know, deja vu, you can call it whatever you want to, but here's what happened. Well, the gentleman that I helped do this rehab, who happens to be the brother of a sister, another deal that I was working on with the stone pavers and patio and a sidewalk and a deck rebuild. Well, anyway, what happened was that I was sitting at the house, and my van was parked out front. And a couple days later, apparently, because I didn't know when this guy saw my van in my neighborhood. Now, this is at my house. He calls me up and he goes, "Hey, are you that Mr. Fix-It guy?" And I go, "No, this is Thomas with Mr. Fix-All." "Oh, yeah. Well, I seen your van out in front of these apartments, and anyway, I want to know if you can do plumbing work." And I said, "Sure, no problem." So I go over to this guy's house, get his contact information, go over to this guy's house, and sure enough, there was quite a bit of plumbing work. He had an older home, 21 years old, lived on the southeast side of Raleigh, older neighborhood, nice guy. Both him and his wife were retired, but they both had health problems, so they just didn't, you know, they just don't do this kind of work anymore. You know, they don't tackle these kind of jobs anymore. He said he just can't handle it anymore, so he has to hire people for pretty much everything. And I says, "Great." Now, so I jumped into the plumbing job, and you know, got that all squared away. Several toilets, a bunch of leaking sinks. You know, just, you know, had to do a lot of line replacements and stuff like that. Well, anyway, him and the homeowner and I started talking, and he's like, "Oh, hey, do you know anybody that does roofing?" I go, "Sure. In fact," here's the interesting twist, is the guy I did the rehab for is a roofing contractor, Stillman Roofing. And Chris is the guy's the owner. His name is Chris. Is also the brother of the sister of the house that I was working on. So I called Chris up and I said, "Hey, Chris, in a couple of days I need you out here to give me an estimate on this house." And he's like, "Oh, sure, no problem." Well, in the meantime, I was talking to the homeowner again, and he's like, "Well, do you know anybody who does wood rot?" And I go, "Sure, I do." And he goes, "Great." He says, "Why don't you give me an estimate on replacing all the wood rot around my house?" And he goes, "Oh, by the way, Tom," he goes, "do you know anybody that restains and remodels decks?" And I said, "Sure, I do." And well, the conversation kept going on and on and on about all the different needs this gentleman had for his house. Well, one thing led to another, and anyway, finished up the plumbing work. He liked that. He was real impressed with the work, and you know, the timeliness, you know, the professionalism, you know, all the stuff that is necessary. You know, if you're a contractor, that's what you want to portray, and that's what you want to do. But anywho, you know, I called Chris up, and we all set up an appointment just to meet out there all together. So I'm out there doing my estimate on the wood rot around the chimney, and, you know, the siding, and it's masonite. It's the old crap, you know, that just rots out anyway. But anyway, Chris shows up, and he's doing, you know, his walk around for this roof. And well, between the both of us, now remember, this is a referral that I got from the sister for Chris Stillman Roofing, and I went and did Chris's work, which of course he paid me my labor rate, which was, you know, like I said, my rate's fairly high, and he admitted to me, he goes, "Tom, you're expensive." He goes, "But," he goes, "I'm gonna be honest with you." Now, I'm jumping ahead of the story a little bit. I said, after we all did our estimates and everything like that, and we're all sitting around, well, the husband and wife, they go inside. Well, me and Chris are outside, and he goes, well, Tom, he says, what kind of money do you want for a referral? And I said, Chris, I don't want no money at all. I said, you turn me on to your job site and paid me my rate, and that's enough. I said, just the sheer fact that you did that, I'm the kind of guy that, if you scratch my back, I'm going to scratch yours. And well, guess what? Now I'm scratching his back. So, sure enough, the homeowners came out, and, Chris goes through his little last, selling pitch, and they said, okay, do it. It turned out to be like a $6,500, almost $7,000 job. And I looked at the homeowner. I said, well, you're hiring Chris. I said, what about me? Are you firing me? Because you haven't given me approval on the rod job. And he looks at me, starts laughing. He goes, no, you've already been hired. He goes, Tom, we like you. He goes, he says, definitely go ahead and proceed with the rod job. And he goes, I've already approved the deck repair and staining job for you too, but we're going to do that last because we've got to get the house painted. And I says, great. I said, now think about it this way. I could have took that painting job too, but I don't want it. I'll be honest with you. I'm not one to get up on a two-story roof and, and these gable ends and all these high pitches and these steep roof lines. I'm just not going to go up there and start farting around with that. And, I'm too old for that, I'm almost 60 years old. I'm in pretty good shape, But bottom line is that I said, no, don't worry about it. And the homeowner already had a painter in mind anyway. I says, look, why don't you just go with the painter that you originally talked to, and you're going with Chris Stillman Roofing for your roof, and I'm going to do all your rot work and rotted trim and all the masonite siding and get that squared away for you, and then you're going to bring your painter in, go ahead and have him paint the house, and then I'll come in a month or so and then redo your deck. And the deck's a big deck. I mean, you're talking something like 30 by 45. It's a huge multi-layered, multi-tiered deck. And then guess what I did? Now here's how I sold it. I was sitting in the living room with these people, and what's the first thing they all say? What kind of references do you have? Is there somebody we can call? And I said, don't worry about that. I said, let me break out my iPhone here, and I'm going to show you my work on YouTube. And the lady and the husband and wife, their eyes just lit right up, and it said, YouTube? And I go, yeah. I said, I've got all my stuff up on YouTube. And anyway, I showed him the video of this one thing that I did with a deck restaining job that I did. I think it was a Jimmy Buffett. One of the videos I did was like a Jimmy Buffett's party house, and it was a huge, big stain job. Well, anyway, I showed him that video, and she flipped out. She goes, oh my God, that's exactly what I want done to my deck. Well, there you go. Like I said, my videos were a little different. I teach. I try to educate you guys on concepts and just that mindset you got to have to where if you put your name out there like Mr.Fix-All and they see this rig going down the road, I'm telling you, I have people pulling up beside me, and I can see them laughing and smiling when they see my name. They think it's hilarious, Mr. Fix-All. Oh, well, what all do you fix? It's just, it gets into that kind of conversation. Well, and to make not to drag this story out or nothing like that, but anywho, I'm at Home Depot now. I'm picking up all the materials for this rot job, and it starts tomorrow at 7 a.m. And I'm driving down the road, and I get another phone call. Now, this is yesterday afternoon, and I thought, okay, I'm set. I got a rot job coming up. Let's make some good money for a 3 days worth of work. And phone rings, and I pick it up, and this guy says, hey, I'm driving right behind you. And I said, oh, you're the guy in the black car behind me? He goes, yeah. He goes, do you do plumbing work? And I go, of course I do plumbing work. And sure enough, I went over to his house yesterday afternoon, and turns out he's selling his house. Big house too, nice area. And his bathroom's all messed up, man. The grout's messed up. He's got water damage underneath the shower. He's got holes in the grout. Just a mess. And it's a beautiful, beautiful bathroom, master bath. And I told the guy yesterday, I says, look, and I did a lot of, I was working my way through the project, cutting out all the grout and all the caulking and all the mess. He tried to fix it. It was a disaster. He had mold. It looked bad. And when I started cleaning it all up, there was still a bunch of moisture coming up through the grout at the base. And I said, man, you got water damage underneath the shower. and underneath the grout, the baseboards is, and the water kept seeping through and seeping through. I said, you've had a leak here for a long, long time. And I said, this is going to turn into a much bigger project. I said, I'll do all the best I can for you, but, when it comes right down to it, the sun's starting to come out. I said, but, you got a problem here. And if an inspector comes in here and sees this, he said he's going to gig you. So, anyway, let me get out of the sun. It's glaring into my eyes. But, anywho, I put a big heater in there and let it run overnight. And I got to go back at 2 o'clock this afternoon to go check on it. And I says, look, I told this guy, and his name's Eric. I said, Eric, if this gets into a subfloor, I said, you're talking thousands of dollars because you got to rip out all this tile, you got to replace the subfloor and then build it back. And he bought this house on a repo. And it's, like I said, it's a big, nice house. And he goes, oh, man, please don't tell me that. He goes, I don't want that bad news. I said, well, it is what it is. I said, but I'd rather tell you the truth and let you see what's going on here and the problems we're going to run into, and instead of lie to you, because I could have went in there and just caulked it all up and, took my money and just let the guy hang. And then if he called me back and said, hey, man, this caulk is coming up, blah, 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 blah. And I said, well, I did my job. You paid me, and the work came out fine. But I don't work that way, man. I'm honest. That's one thing I will tell you. I'm straight up. If I see a problem, I'm going to stop immediately and tell a homeowner, hey, this is what's going on, and this is it's like a domino effect. One thing falls, the others fall. And in this guy's case, he tried to do the patchwork, it didn't work, it wasn't sticking. I went in there, I saw the problem, and I stopped, and then I advised him. And then he appreciates it. He sent me this big, long text last night, what if this, what if that, and all this. And I told him, I says, I'll just come out at 2 o'clock, like I said, and I'll check the condition with the heater in there and everything, and we'll go from there. And then he, of course, texted me back and said, okay, Tom. And I said, there we go. So when I hung up with him, I'm basically saying to myself, I said, hey, Tom, this is the way you operate. This is the way you run a business. Honesty. Always be honest. Be truthful to yourself. If you're a craftsman and you sell yourself as a craftsman, one thing you don't want to do is lie. And you don't want to lie to yourself. If you're going to sit there and basically, BS yourself, thinking that, you've done the right thing, and you turn around, you got all these comebacks. Buddy, you got a long, you're going to have a lot of problems, with your company, because the bottom line is the word's going to get out that you're just, you're one of these, these fly-by-night contractors, and that's the one thing you don't want. Well, I know this story got a little long. How I am. I like to talk and chat and, and kind of give you guys heads up on stuff. But here's the main point. I just want to be very, very clear about this. Your name, your image, and how you represent yourself out there is a big deal. I can roll around town in this van and this rig, my name plastered all over the side of it. But if I can't pull off what my name is, Mr.Fix-All, if I can't do what I advertise, I'm an idiot, and then I'm basically just conning everybody. But you know what? The business has been up and running for years here in this city, and I'm still busy, and I'm still working. So when it comes right down to it, guys, screw your head on straight. I always tell you to do that. Think about it this way. I always tell you that. And be visible, be honest, be forthright with what you do, and people will come to you, I promise you, because there's so many shady mechanics out there. There's so many shady contractors. Oh my God, they're everywhere. And these homeowners want honest, reliable, truthful contractors. And that's how I got this gig, turned into just from a plumbing job right into now a roof replacement, siding, rot replacement, a deck restoration. They're going to want to do some landscaping. So this has turned into thousands and thousands of dollars worth of work over my van sitting in front of my house with my name plastered all over the side of it. And this guy took a chance, called me, and then here I am picking up supplies and getting ready to do another big job. So that's my advice to you guys. Be public. Let people see who you are and what you do at the same time, but you got to follow up, be a professional, and then get the job done, and you got to ask a lot of questions. Be personable. ask these people, talk to them about their life, the pictures hanging on their wall. Find out who these people are and what they're about. And you'd be amazed. You'd be amazed how well that works. And people just will love you to death, and they will turn you on to all their work. And here's another tidbit. The wife told me flat out, Tom, we're going to get some other estimates, on the roof and the wood rot. Well, after about an hour, me and Chris, Stillman Roofing, and me, Mr. Fix-All, talking with these people, going through all the details, answering all their questions, they didn't even hesitate, and they hired us both on a spot and signed our contracts. So there you go, YouTube. Another piece of advice from Mr. Fix-All Home and Garden in Raleigh, North Carolina. Be a professional. Be visible. Be honest. And I promise you, you'll go a long way. You guys have a great day, and hopefully this video has given you some valuable information. And to all the subscribers, thanks. You guys are great. The subscriber rate's going good, and the views are going good. And I just want to let you know that there is some honest contractors out there that are trying to make a big difference, and I want you to also make a big difference. You guys have a great day, YouTube. Bye.